I never thought a joke would change my life, much less on a first date I was convinced would last no more than an hour. But the moment she walked into the cafe, hair still damp from the unexpected rainstorm outside, cheeks flushed from the cold, and an embarrassed smile tugging at her lips, I felt something shift. "Sorry," she said, brushing water from her jacket. "My weather app lied to me." I laughed. "Mine does that too. Maybe we should sue them together." She giggled, and just like that, the ice was gone. Her name was Lena. Warm, open, and soft-spoken, but with sparks in her eyes whenever she talked about something she loved, art, rescue animals, and baking cookies she claimed were either divine or disastrous. I learned more about her in those first 30 minutes than I'd learned about most people in years. And somewhere between her story about accidentally adopting a cat that didn't belong to the shelter, and her confession that she's scared of balloons, I joked, "Will you marry me on our first date?" She stopped stirring her tea. Her eyes lifted, steady, searching. And she replied softly, "I hope you keep that promise." I froze. The cafe noise faded. She wasn't teasing. She wasn't mocking me. There was vulnerability in her voice, and something else. Hope. "Whoa, wait," I said gently. "Are you okay?" She looked down. "Sorry. I didn't mean to make things weird. It's just, people usually leave. They say big things and walk away. I guess part of me wishes someone would actually stay." Her honesty hit me harder than the joke had hit her. We continued the date with no more jokes, just real conversation. And the more she spoke, the more I noticed the tiny cracks carefully hidden beneath her bright personality. She had moved to the city alone. Had no close family left. Worked 2 jobs but still volunteered at an animal rescue every weekend. She wasn't chasing love, she was chasing connection. A reason to believe people still kept their word. By the time we walked out of the cafe, the rain had stopped, leaving the world smelling like fresh pavement and new beginnings. We reached her bus stop, and I noticed her shivering in the cold. Without thinking, I draped my jacket over her shoulders. "That's too kind," she murmured. "It's not kindness," I replied. "It's what people do when they mean what they say." Her eyes softened. That was the moment I realized the joke wasn't the strange part. The strange part was, I actually meant it. The twist. We started meeting every day, sometimes for dinner, sometimes just to talk for 10 minutes between her shifts. She carried heavy things alone, worries, debts, dreams she was scared to admit. So I helped where I could. Not with money, she wouldn't take that. But with rides home, with company on lonely nights, with listening when the world grew loud. Then one evening, she didn't show up. She didn't answer texts. Didn't pick up calls. Didn't respond to the dozens of voice notes I left. My gut twisted. 2 hours later, she finally called back, her voice trembling. "I'm at the rescue center," she whispered. "A storm hit the back of the building. It's flooding. I'm trying to save the dogs, but I can't do it alone." I didn't hesitate. I drove there faster than I thought possible. The wind was brutal, rain slicing sideways, but I pushed through. Inside, Lena was soaked, shaking, still trying to open stubborn cage latches with numb fingers. "You came," she breathed. "I told you," I said, lifting a terrified dog into my arms, "I keep my promises." Together, slipping and stumbling, we carried every last animal out of the rising water. By the end, my arms felt like lead, my legs like jelly, but when I saw the relief in her trembling smile, none of it mattered. She threw her arms around me, sobbing quietly into my chest. "I thought you'd think I was overreacting," she whispered. "About saving lives?" I held her tighter. Never. In that soaking wet, mud-covered moment, kindness became love. The emotional climax. The city wrote about her the next day: young woman saves 20 animals from flooding shelter. But she kept insisting, I didn't do it alone. At the small recognition ceremony the rescue center held, the director handed her a certificate, a bouquet, and said, "You're the kind of person this world needs more of." She smiled shyly, then glanced at me. And in that glance, I felt something shift again, something deeper. After the event ended, she tugged on my sleeve. "Remember your joke?" she asked, heart thumping in her voice. I laughed nervously. "I said a lot of stupid things." "No," she whispered. "Just one beautiful thing." She took my hands. Held them like they meant something. Maybe like I meant something. "You said you'd marry me on our first date," she said. "But you've spent every day since proving that commitment isn't a joke to you." I swallowed hard. "Do you want me to take it back?" Her tear-bright smile answered before her voice did. "I want you to keep it." The uplifting ending. We didn't get married that day. Or that month. Love isn't a race. But we did something better. We built a life, not perfect, not easy, but honest and kind and real. A year later, on a quiet morning at the same cafe where we first met, I slipped a small silver ring across the table. "Lena," I said softly, "this time I'm not joking." She covered her mouth, tears spilling as she whispered, "I hoped you'd keep that promise." And I did. I still do. Every day.